Be blessed by the divine, be blessed by the divine, be blessed by the divine. May Guru's blessings help us successfully complete today's session. Good morning. Today we shall further discuss about the book The Journey of Consciousness by our Guru Vethathiri Maharishi. In all the previous classes, we had discussed the purpose of yoga, a lot about pain and pleasure, also about sins or how the life force fluctuates or the energy in our body fluctuates in order to maintain the proper working of our body. We had also discussed about the 5 layers in our body and how each layer is interconnected and interlinked to the other 4. So today we shall resume from that. We shall start a new heading, that is soul and its physique extension. Maharishi here first begins with the definition of soul. He says soul is an ethereal body. It is a mixture or a combination of innumerable energy particles with the imprints of experiences in it. To explain or understand what soul is, we can take a lot of examples, but when we take soul, we cannot expect it to be ditto or accurate from one point to the other. From the start to the end, it is the same, but we can still have some examples to have an overall proper understanding about what soul is. We can take an example of water. If we want to boil some water or we want some warm water, so we first pour it in a utensil that is a good conductor of heat. That may be iron, steel, or any other copper or any utensil that is a good conductor of heat. Next, we place it on a stove or under any heat producer. We then wait for the water to get a little more warmer and it starts steaming and later it starts boiling. The boiling process later forms water vapors that mix with the air. Here we can take the soul to be the water or the water to be the soul, the utensil to be the body, and the mind, that is the heat produced, be the mind. When the heat is produced from the producer, the utensil experiences a heat due to which the water inside the utensil also experience heat. The experience of heat later results in the splitting of electrons or the movement of electrons and all the physical or chemical change of properties in the water. So that is, water is the soul here, utensil is the body over here, and experiences become the mind here. We shall now keep this example aside. We shall compare the theory with the example from now on. Here Maharishi asks a question, what is the mind? He gives the answer, it is the outcome or result of the process of extension and expansion of the soul during its existence in the physical body. That is, the example of the water was the soul. So the result was the boiling of water when some external heat was given to it. And this process could only occur when it was existing in the physical utensil, the physical body, that is the utensil over here. Maharishi also says the body is only a suitable vehicle for the soul to fulfill its divine journey towards perfection. He also mentions that the soul, devoid of the body, cannot feel any sensation. Only when the soul functions within the body, its extension through the senses become the instrument of feeling the sensation. This is something that we have to focus on. That is, the soul devoid of the body cannot feel any sensation. Suppose the water we have taken in our hands and we just threw it or just pour it over the stove or any other heat producer, what will happen? It will just extinguish the fire, but it will not start to boil. It will extinguish the heat also it diminishes itself. That is, without the body, without the utensil, neither can heat live nor can the water live together. That is, a utensil is required for the water to boil under the heat. If we just pour it over the heat, it will just extinguish the fire. Hence, only when the soul functions within the body, its extension through the senses becomes the instrument of feeling the sensation. So, to arrive to a conclusion, we can just simply say that the extension of the soul is the mind, or when the soul is open to for experiences, it can be called as mind. So, here mind has various levels or stages. We shall discuss about that today. Now, here first we shall start with an example and further look after the 10 stages of the mind. If we consider the school going or college going students, we want to be the best in whatever we do. In terms of academics, if we are really good at studies, we want to be the first one. In terms of sports, if you're good at a particular sport, we want to be the first person or the best person in that, and we would love to be appreciated because of our effort and because we are the best one or the first one. Genuinely and honestly, that is some position that every student, school going or college going student, or even when in terms of work staff or office staff, they want to be the one who is the best or the first one. That is our nature. That is a human nature. That isn't something wrong, that we want to be the first. We try hard. If it goes in another direction, that is something else. But the main thing is we want to be something in a very good position. When we talk about school or college going students, we want to be the person who is the best, who is the first one. In terms of academics, if a person is really good at studies, he or she wants to be the first person in the class or in the school. Similarly, in terms of sports as well, if a person is good at a particular sport, football or running or whatever it may be, the person wants to be the first one or the best one. This feeling or passion does not just end within the school, it also exceeds beyond the school life or the college life, or maybe it can become the profession of the particular person or the career of a particular person. So we can just keep it as a career. So when it comes to school going students, they want to have a good future, a good career, or in general audience, a good successful person in life. Successful does not only mean economical stability but also the social and political stability. So, a person, if the school going student or a college going student wants to be successful in life, so what he or she does, they want a good scholarship, or they want admission in a very good college or get into a very good job. So, what they do, they work hard. If in school they work really hard to achieve good scores so that they can get scholarship and get admission in very good reputed colleges. So they work hard, they work really hard, they use various strategies, they practice a lot. They may rise early in the morning, they work hard, they study a lot, they go for various references, they listen to their teachers, their guardians and everyone, and all they want is, or all the only focus of them is to work hard and get some scholarship or any other similar means. As a result of studying hard, they get a credit, that may be scholarship or good ranking or good marks. Due to this, they become happy and they also gain courage and confidence that they themselves can also do something. And from that, we can learn a lesson. Maybe we can say that working hard can give good fruits, or they can find a proper strategy that works for them, because every person is different. They can know the strategy that works well for them, that can be implemented in the future for their success. So this is like a timetable for the students or just any person in general. That is, when they want something, they look for what can help us gain that, and from that they start working or they put in some effort, and because of the effort they receive a result. And the result, if it is good or bad, whether it may be good or bad, they learn from that. So these are actually the 10 stages of the mind. The first one we said that the wanting to be successful, the eagerness or the excitement to be successful in life, that is the sensation of feeling, is the first stage of mind. After that, the person finds out what they can do. It can be alternative sources or scholarship or marks or rankings or whatever. So they find what can be done in order to achieve the goal. So that becomes the need. That is, the scholarship, mark or ranking becomes the need. After that, after they come to know about that, they put in their hard work. They start studying hard. So that is, they put in some effort to make it come true. So effort is the third stage of mind. After planning out or after having a plan of what to do, start to apply it or imply it in the lives. That is practicing a lot, guidance from the teachers and listening to the teachers, extra points, extra questions, important questions, everything. So that is the action towards the effort. So action is the fourth stage of mind. Once the action is done properly, you get a result. That is good scholarship or good rank or good mark. So that is the result of their hard work, and that result is the fifth stage of mind. Next is becoming happy or happiness or sourness. If we fail, we feel sad. If we succeed in it, we feel happy. This enjoyment or sourness, in as a whole we can just say enjoyment is the sixth stage of the mind. Later we gain some experience, that is, if we achieve success, we understand the strategy for us or what else can be improved in it. If we fail in that, we understand or realize what was the mistake we did. So that is the experience we gain is the seventh stage. After that, we start researching in it. We start to realize what happens, and then we later conclude everything. So these three, that is researching, realizing, and then concluding, is the 8th, 9th and 10th stages. So now if we number it in order, we shall say that the 10 stages of mind are: first, sensation of feeling; second, need; third, effort; fourth, action; fifth, result; sixth, enjoyment; seventh, experience; eighth, research; ninth, realization; and 10th, conclusion. This is something that we have to look after or think about whenever we do any action. It may be any action or any thought. Even before we think about something, we have to look after these 10 stages of mind. Will we be able to complete it successfully? It may be in terms of school academics, in terms of sports, in terms of office work. If we say about office work, if we take up a larger position or a post, we have to look after these 10 stages of mind before we do any proceed to take any action or think about something. We can also imply this in very simple things of life, in life that we go through. Even if we develop some new recipes, we can find that all these 10 stages also come through. That is, we think of it, then we look after what we need for a recipe, and then we work hard to achieve what we want. So we start preparing the dishes, we start adding all the ingredients that we want, and we get a result. So if the food tastes good, then the result is good. If it doesn't, then we start to realize what it is. We start to research what is the thing that is wrong in it, then we realize it, then we conclude by or we conclude that we shouldn't add this, or we should substitute this to something else, or we have to add something else to make it even better. So even in some small things, we can see that all these 10 stages of mind come in action. Another point to note, or to be amazed at, I would rather say, is that the last three stages of mind, that is research, realization, and conclusion, is something that is programmed only in the human beings or the sixth sense organisms. If you see till the the animals with fifth sense, we can only see till the animals experiencing whatever they did. But when it comes to human, it is the human that, because of their thinking ability, they start to research, realize, and conclude. So these three stages of mind is really something that is powerful and is only given to the human beings or the sixth sense organisms, and hence we have to be careful that we use it properly, and not that we don't use it at all. That will make us a fifth sense organism. We have to use it and analyze each and every action of ours properly and maintain our life, or move our life in a smooth path, cheering not to hurt all the other organisms as well as the laws of nature and the society. If we think of something in contrast to this, that is, we are not ready to do research and realize and conclude, that is what leads us to an illusion. This thinking leads us to the next topic, that is Maya and Jnana, that is illusion and wisdom. So when I was in school in earlier grades, even sometimes even now, I would admit that whenever teacher goes for a minute away from the classroom after giving us a bunch of notes, if she goes or moves out of the class for some other important work for at least a minute or so, when she moves, shuts the door, everyone starts screaming, speaking loud, shouting, and what not to happen in the class will happen. That is the children love to be in some sort of a motion throughout the class. Similarly, when we take a bacteria or even just electrons, whenever heat is produced to the electrons, it just starts moving. It just starts moving so randomly, and its movement is so aggressive. Within a second or two, it will just move from this corner to the other corner. That is something that is exceptional, and something not removable from a person, or even just any. In case of electrons, even electrons cannot stay at a position for a minute when it is given some energy. So in that case, when we first used to learn meditation, and when we sit down, what we do, whenever we close our eyes for a minute, even in the second, we get multiple thinking, or multiple desires and thoughts will come into our brains within the second. It can be of any type. That's obvious, because the smallest unit, the electron itself, cannot control itself. So how can our mind, that is so huge, our brain cells, can control? It's not that is a humankind. It's not just even a humankind. It's just something that happens in nature. But if you think about the desires or the thoughts we get, if we write down each and everything, we cannot be sure we can possibly make it all come true, or everything will be something successful. That is, there may be disappointments and failures. So these failures will result in depression, or it will just continue our birth cycle. It will start increasing our karma, our sins, and hence will just continue our birth cycle and make us forget what our real aim was to when we came in onto the when we landed on the earth. That is, a sensible person should learn to restrict his desires to suit the capacity and harmony of the physical body and the mind. Along with that, he should also respect the views of the society while seeking to fulfill his desires. That is, if a person thinks that he wants to go around the world within an hour or so, that is not physically possible. Nor only the thing that you can do in an hour to go around the world is to dream that you're going around the world. It is physically impossible for you to go around the world in just an hour. Similarly, having something that is against your society or doing something that's against your society, especially in terms of drugs or sedative substances that is against the society, or any other thing that you do against the society, or something that harms the peacefulness or the harmony of the society, is not right. So whatever you think cannot be implemented or experienced, that is, the person has to learn to restrict his desires to suit the harmony of the physical body and mind, and also not to hurt but respect the views of the society. Another angle that a person should keep in mind when he gets a desire or a desire strikes is the laws of nature. He shouldn't be against the nature. Persistence in any such desire that is against the law of nature can spoil the life of the person or just the life of the society. It will harm the society definitely. So when such desires come or strike a person, he or she gets diverted due to the experiences of pain or pleasure. That can be either. So the person gets diverted from the main aim or the goal of the person. We had already discussed about what it is, the stagnation of soul, and what or how is pain and pleasure created, and everything of that in the earlier sessions itself. And if anyone remembers, we had discussed that forgetfulness is the main cause of all the blemishes in the soul. That is, we forgot what we had to do when we came to the earth. We had forgotten what our goal was, and we got diverted in some other thing because of pain or pleasure. It's mostly because of pleasure, but it can be either sensations of pain or pleasure that we get diverted from our main goal. So this forgetfulness leads to the stagnation of the soul. So this stagnation of the soul embodied in a manner is called Maya. It is called Maya in Sanskrit. In English, when translated, it means illusion. Also, if the person is strong enough, and when the man develops the force of his mind and self-awareness, achieving success over this stagnation, he reaches the ultimate goal of the infinite, the state of perfection of mind. That is, if he overcomes these stagnations, or he does not get diverted, or even if he gets diverted, he comes back very soon and overcomes the Maya. It is called Jnana. In Sanskrit, it means Jnana. When translated, it refers to wisdom. When a person has overcome the illusion, he leads his life in the light of perfection of realization. So this state is called wisdom. That is, leading a life properly and understanding the need of our presence in this earth, and what we have to do to the earth, and how we have to get back to our infinite state, or merge with the Almighty. In the state of Maya or forgetfulness or illusion, the soul gets frequently surrendered or pulled back by emotions and errors repeatedly. By the force of needs, habits, and environmental conditions, the activities of soul continues on the same worn path because of the old prince. That is, the soul is not ready to realize its need, its main aim or goal, and it starts to continue this cycle. It just goes on a cycle. It starts its life, it puts some imprints, it forgets its need, and it dies. Again, the next soul, the cycle repeats, it keeps repeating, and the soul itself forgets its main reason on this earth. And this forgetfulness is due to Maya or illusion because of the sensations of pain or pleasure in this world, or experienced in this world. This will lead to this delay in its spiritual advancement. That is something very important. When we keep on running this cycle, we fail to realize ourselves, we fail to realize the goal of our life, and then we delay the spiritual advancement, or we forget to merge ourselves, or the process to merge the soul with the Almighty delays a lot. So hence we have to understand and overcome our illusions and with wisdom, and understand the infinite, the Almighty, the God, and work in coordination with the society, ourselves, our own body, the society, and the nature, and understand our goal and work towards our spiritual advancement and merge with the Almighty. With this, we shall end today's English session. Thank you all for listening so patiently till now. Thank you to the in charges of the Abu Dhabi, Musafa, and Alain centers for providing me the opportunity. Thank you so much. Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine.